Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Azizan. Thank you so much. I'm both live on my Facebook, Universal Finance Academy. Let me share my contact information so everyone, if you need it, you can use it. Again, my email is universalfinanceacademy@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, you have any concerns, or would like to be on my show, go ahead and contact me. I would love to have you. So today, the overall topic is going to be the missing equation in financial serenity. And my amazing guest today is Khanam Gulmakai Salah. She is known for her various children's books that are meant to be about positive messages to help those to, be a good person, to grow and, be someone positive and beneficial within society. She was also speaker on Voices of America, if anyone has seen that show as well. So, Assalamu alaikum, Gulmaka Jan, how are you today?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing very well. How are you?
Good, thank you so much. Thank you for being on my show. I, as well as I'm sure everyone watching today, really appreciates it. Please tell us a little bit of your background so people get an understanding of who you are.
Thank you for having me. I came from Kandahar, Afghanistan, at a very young age to the United States of America. I've spent over about 3 decades in America, and I was raised here. Coming here wasn't anything easy for me or any immigrant because we are of a different faith, a different culture. That had impacted me. So as I grew up, I decided to write books that will help children who I was as a child that went through something I went through was bullying. So I decided to write a book on bullying, how to treat neighbors if they're different than you. So that was my goal, to promote goodness in the world. And the best thing to do is do it through our children.
Exactly. Yeah, so beyond that, I know you also have the Golden Tree of Goodness. Is that just like an organization people can join to learn about your books, or is it more than that?
The Golden Tree of Goodness, I'm working on to make it into a nonprofit organization where I build understanding among people, especially our children, helping them and giving them guidance, helping parents, teachers, and caregivers who deal with children.
Okay, that's really amazing. I hope a lot of people who are watching today will go ahead and like her page, follow her, buy the books for their children, as well as if you buy it, to donate it to children who don't have access to libraries. That'll be really beneficial. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and starting this nonprofit, and I hope it'll grow and become worldwide to benefit a lot of people.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with Hadith 13. I know you really follow like the golden rule, so I wanted you to kind of talk more about that and how that impacts people in their everyday life.
So all my books are based on the golden rule. This is something that is ingrained in our own faith, and it's also ingrained in other faiths. Christianity, Judaism, other faiths also have this rule. So what is the golden rule? A lot of us might be asking. The golden rule is none other than treating people the way we want to be treated. As our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, none of you believe until you wish for your brother what you wish for yourselves. Just like we do not like to be cheated with our money, or we like to get our wages in the right amount, we should treat others the same way. And this is the missing equation in our financial serenity. It's the golden rule, to treat people with kindness and love and understanding and respect. That's one thing, probably the major reason happening is because of our history, what we've been through as Afghans. Our people have been through a war for almost 4 decades. And if you study psychology, you'll see people who have been through war, they become in a flight or flight mode where they're trying to survive. And they're always on survival mode. We have to save our family, we have to save ourselves. So And in this process, we kind of lose the value of treating others with dignity and respect and giving the golden rule its importance too. So this is a group of hadith that, really explains how we should treat people, and no matter what situation we might be in.
Yeah, I hope everyone, takes a step back and considers how they treat other people. And if they were put into that specific situation, would they be happy? Would they be comfortable? Would they feel safe? And if you find that the way you're acting towards other people doesn't give you that sense of safety or happiness or belonging, then maybe reevaluate what you see as the golden rule, and then try and show that onto other people so that they'll treat you the same way as well. So that's really great. Okay, so let's go ahead. And so obviously in psychology, there's a lot of various terms, that are very important, but especially, a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. I know on my last show with Layma Hamid, we kind of talked about that, because a lot of the youth nowadays, they don't really see the role models that they really need to help them to continuously grow and become better. And sometimes they're just afraid, they don't think that they're good enough. So kind of what are your thoughts about that, and how do you think having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset could be more beneficial?
Well, going back to what I mentioned about, because our audience is mostly Afghans, and going back to what I said about the war, that flight and fight mode we're on. So that will give us more of a fixed mindset where we do not think positively of our outcome. When we think, oh, well, I don't have an education, so I can't grow financially, so I'm stuck working for other people. I can't create my own business. I don't have time. I don't have the experience. So we come up with these excuses for ourselves not to make ourselves grow and develop. So that's where the growth mindset comes in, when it tells us, like, okay, so you've been through hardship. You didn't have probably a formal education, but you have other skills that if you work on and develop, you could become better at what you are and bring in that halal and the good financial income to your home and be blessed with it. So having that growth mindset, just like our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he always was thinking outside the box. He wasn't always like fixated. His mind was not fixated at, no, it's not possible. We could see in his early years of life where he had struggled with the non-believers, where he was trying to teach Islam and tell them about Allah, oneness and stuff. But what happened was people were against him. So for so many years, but he never gave up. Even through the hardship he went through, he still had that positive growth mindset. He said, no, it's going to happen. One day it will happen. So that's something we need to bring back into our own lives as Afghans, and believe in our country, in our people, that it will happen, where we will be financially independent. We won't rely on other countries helping us, and financially we'll be very stable. And this all comes when we work on ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially now with COVID, a lot of people are struggling, with their education, with moving to another country, maybe trying to figure out what will make them happy with their career, with their, daily livelihood. So, always having that growth mindset is very important. When we look at all of the opportunities we have now, now you can work from home, even if you don't have an amazing job, at least you have a job, you have a family, you have somewhere that you're living. For your students, you have the internet, you have a lot of YouTube videos and many other resources. You can, chat with anyone nowadays to get help, to read books. So don't feel that because of the situation you're in right now, you can't get into a better situation later on. And if anything, think about how lucky you are with all the blessings you have right now, because, other people are having more struggles. They might not even have a job right now. They might not have food that they can bring to the table. They might not even have a laptop or internet connection to study, because all they could do is go to a physical school, and now they can't. So I appreciate you kind of talking about that more and really describing it in depth, because a lot of people kind of need to refocus and get back on track to their future goals, I believe. So yeah, so let's go ahead and continue from there. So I really like this cartoon. It's really cute. So much of our happiness depends on how we choose to look at the world. And I really loved how you explained, kind of like the overall story behind the photo.
It goes back to the mindset, having that growth mindset or fixed mindset. If we have success, if you see the guy in the green shirt, he has the success behind him, but the thing is he just wants to focus on his past, his hardship in life or trauma he's been through. So if he just takes his body and turn around in a chair, and he will start seeing where the success lies. So it depends on us. It's how we turn around our lives that will make us happier and success. And you can see the other guy, he had a lot of trauma. He had a lot of bad things going on in his life, but he decided to turn his chair and see where the success is, and he's striving for that.
Sorry, I just realized I was on mute. But the next topic I know is you wanted to kind of talk about the difference between blessings versus luck. I know a lot of days people always talk about how lucky they are, but understanding that sometimes a blessing is something that you might be given and you don't really realize or you don't really focus on. But having that blessing is much more powerful, much more important than just thinking you're lucky in life.
Yeah, I've dealt with some people and I talk to them, and they're always, majority of the people I talk to have that negative mindset that, oh, well, look at that person, they're so lucky, in Pashto they say, bah, look at their bah, they're blessed, they're fortunate. But there's something that we have forgotten, that in Islam, there's a thing called blessings, and that's one thing I don't see a lot of people focusing on. Yeah, they might be there's the blessings I focus on is more about the self, the character. And yes, in Islam, you could also pray, you could also go to Hajj, you could, read the Quran and get blessings. Those are other forms of blessings you could gain. But I'm talking about character, because the human's heart, it's so sacred that it's mentioned that it's even sacred, more sacred than the Kaaba. That's how sacred it is, meaning that if we harm another individual with our words or physically or financially in any way or form, we are really, really, really losing the blessings that we need in our lives. So we really need to focus on our own character and how we deal with others to gain that blessings. It's not thing about luck. There's no luck. Actually, if we study the history of the word luck, luck is actually a goddess from the Roman and Greek times, and that's where the name luck originated from. As Muslims, we shouldn't really believe in luck. It's Allah's blessings. It's a qadarullah.
Yeah, and I really like the photo. One man, he found some treasure and now he got that blessing in a sense. But the other man, is focusing on him instead of, his own path, his own way of becoming someone good. And you can really, focus that on finance, especially with, if someone gets a new job or a new position that you didn't get, if someone does really well in a specific type of investment and you didn't go into that investment, that doesn't mean you don't have the opportunities in the future. It just means that at that very moment, it wasn't your specific opportunity. In the future, you might have something bigger and greater, but because you were too hurried or you weren't focused enough on yourself, on building yourself, your character, you missed that blessing, and instead you would just focus on the concept of luck or chance. When reality, you have to bring in that hard work. You have to, become someone who has a lot of skills. You have to, have a lot of experiences, volunteering, giving charity, growing yourself, meditation, figuring out who you are. And especially when it comes to, I've seen a lot of people nowadays who, might accidentally get into like a scam, for example, or might accidentally, pay too much for a product that isn't useful because they see other people saying, look how successful it's made me, look how lucky it's made me. And then they follow into that trap, something quick, easy money, easy fame, easy, health. But nothing is easy in this life. You're supposed to struggle in order to, get something very beneficial out of it at the very end. So.
Yes, it goes back to that mindset again. We're all fixated on other people's blessings. That we have our blessings. We just need to dig a little deeper, and it comes by purifying ourselves, purifying our souls and hearts, and just focus on the goal. Look at yourself. Being an entrepreneur online now with so much going on, I see that, there's that competition going on. One wants to be better than the other. So sometimes they might even go to the depth of doing things that are not very humane or proper to just get more likes or get more people to buy their product. But we have to still, still understand that there's a limit where there's a boundary we should not cross, where we harm other, whether with our words, like I said before, or it's not a competition. We should collaborate more than compete with people, because the blessing is in collaboration, not competing with each other.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so I see you have this table here. I don't want to say it correctly, so I'll let you talk about the two different types of cultures and the importance of one over the other.
It was such a blessing that I received the email just recently about this new post that the productivemuslim.com, they do. I follow them. It's a great website to become more productive in the way we deal with our life, being successful. So this was such a good way of explaining what's baraka culture and what's hustle culture. Most people are in the hustle culture, where we're like waking up in the morning and just rushing just to make ends meet or trying to become something. So what is the driving force of that? We could see in the baraka, it's God conscious. We're concerned more about what Allah wants us to do. So we're more focused on that. As in the hustle culture is more the ego centered. In the barakah, it's more the purpose. We have that purpose that, am I really pleasing Allah with what I'm doing, what job I have, what income, what career path I'm taking? Because if you think like that, that's where the blessings are going to come. And if we're just focused on our own success, just, let me get a good job, a good career, I'll just, whenever I get married, I have children, I'll focus only on them. I mean, that's fine. There's blessings and reward in that too. But we want more blessings. And the way to do that is being more baraka culture instead of the hustle culture.
Yeah, that's really great. I really, when I talk to my family, especially, my mom, she talks about, how, especially with my generation and the upcoming generations, there's so much expected of us. We have to, get all these degrees. We have to get a high-paying job, have a house, have a car, try and, build on something from nothing almost sometimes. But, in other societies and other cultures, they slow it down. You have time to spend time with your family. You have time to spend with your friends, with yourself, to really understand, the spiritual side of you, to understand the social side of you, to understand the intellectual side of you. And it takes time to build yourself. But nowadays, everyone's rushing, and I feel it myself sometimes. I forget myself. I'm like, oh, this person already has, a PhD, and they have, they've worked at this giant laboratory, and they've written a book, and I'm just still here working on my bachelor's. But just because I'm here doesn't mean I haven't done a lot for myself. I'm getting an education. I'm learning how to be financially stable. I'm now getting to meet great people like you and talk to you, and share knowledge with other people, and learning to take a step back, to calm down, to realize that everyone is successful in their own way. And because one person's successful doesn't mean that I'm not successful. It means that now they've done something that will help me, and now a lot of people take a break from the hustle culture, step back, be focused, be grateful for what you have. Look at this list and kind of pinpoint, what do you have, what do you not have, and what brings you joy? You know, does spending time with your family bring you more joy, or does working a 60-hour job? You know, so kind of take a step back and try to focus on what's more important. And I think everyone will have a more, you know, fulfilling and more, you know, calm and more peaceful life afterwards when they kind of focus on that. So let's go ahead. So yeah, I know you wanted to kind of talk about the many types of blessings that people can, you know, procure throughout their life. And I really loved the overall, you know, message. So why don't you kind of talk about what you want to talk about, and then we'll go into detail from there.
Yeah. So the blessings are gained by first, you know, working on ourselves, which is our intentions, being grateful, like you mentioned, our earning and spending, seeking forgiveness. And then again, the next step is to, with our family, our nuclear family, or our relatives. This is the second degree of gaining that blessings. Then it goes out to the community, the way we behave with people, the way we give and help. And charity, again, it could be explained in different forms. It's not only financial charity, which I will explain more in detail as we go through the slides.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and start with, you know, self-intentions, because I think a lot of people kind of, you know, they stop focusing on themselves and they just think about the outside world and how to present themselves to other people.
Yes, like the Prophet ﷺ said, verily Allah does not look at your appearance or wealth, but rather He looks at your hearts and actions. This goes back to what you were mentioning, the hustle we live in. We live in a hustle world where we just want to make ends meet or just be better than the other person. But I ask ourselves, at what cost are we trying to reach that goal? You know, are we taking time out from our worshiping Allah? Are we taking time out to work on ourselves? When we're hustling so hard, sometimes we lose our character. We become angry easily. So Allah doesn't look at your wealth. He doesn't look at your appearance. He looks at your heart. If you're so tired, so exhausted, so stressed out because you're so focused on gaining that extra degree or you know, getting that promotion, we have to really step back. Is that really me? Is that who I want to be? Do I want to gain that degree because it's going to make me a better person? Or, you know, not getting a degree and getting a promotion is a great thing. But yes, sometimes we need to slow it down to work on our own souls. That's where we lose ourselves when we're so busy, you know, just scheduling our day, our year evenly, that we also have time for ourselves to work on our intentions, work on our souls.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And now, especially with COVID, I feel like there's a lot more flexibility with how jobs are managed. You know, so take a chance, you know, talk to your manager or your supervisor or even your professors and let them know, you know, I have other responsibilities in my life that are very important to me. How can we make this work so that I am also here as a student or an employee, but I'm also, you know, there. And, you know, not just looking at what is important for yourself, but for your entire community. So go ahead and talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, I went on mute. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran that when we thank Allah, we thank people, Allah is going to give us more. There's blessings in just that. And how can we stay focused on being grateful and earning that blessing? It's very simple. You know, Islam has so much therapy, so much coping skills that if we just think about it, that we won't need any type of books to read or anything. Just that will be enough in gaining therapy. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if we feel ungrateful, then we should look at below people below us. If I have a home that has 2 bedrooms, let me look at a person who lives in a tight apartment or someone who lives in the street. And then when I think about that, I become so grateful. I'm like, Alhamdulillah, I have a home. Yes, it might be a 3 bedroom home, but Alhamdulillah, I shouldn't look at those above me. Even it's mentioned to divert our eyes from those type of people who have more than us. And that way we become more grateful. And when we become grateful, we receive more blessings, and Allah will make our lives much easier, whether it's financially, emotionally, or physically. So any aspect of our lives will be blessed.
Yeah, that's really great. Okay. So now we're going to, focus more on like kind of the financial aspect, self-earning and spending. So I'll kind of let you take the lead, and then I'll give some examples as well.
So, we have an audience, both Afghans living in the West Country and Afghans living in Afghanistan or other countries around the world, both East and West Coast. So this applies somewhat differently to wherever we're located. Some of us, we live in a country where majority of the people are non-Muslims. So we have pork in the stores or in the restaurants. We have alcohol. We have cigarettes that are haram. And we have to make a decision whether, if that's the only job we have and we're trying to earn an income. So the fatwa will be different for those people who live in a Western country than those who live in majority Muslim country, because it's much easier to get a different job in a Muslim country where it'll be halal, or you could earn halal. But living in the Western country, there's a difference of opinion, and it's best to study those opinions and apply it. Yeah, I understand if it's all a butcher shop that deals only with pork, it will be considered 100% haram. But then there's like, okay, because I had this issue with my children. They wanted to work, and we were deciding, like, can they work at a grocery store that has one small corner that they sell bacon, and the rest of the store is filled with fruits and vegetables and other halal things that are good for us. So this is a debate a lot of our youth have. I had young people contact me, can I work at Subway because they serve pork? Can I work here or there because, I don't want haram income? So it's a struggle for our youth, and I feel you. And like I said, there's difference of opinion. If it's, one opinion is that if it's a minimum haram, then you could give that away, purify your wealth. But if it's majority haram, like working in a casino, at a club with, it's 100% haram, you should stay away from those type of jobs. Another way of haram income is if we're deceiving people or we cheating people out. That's something that we really need to work on our character and the way we deal with people. And only Allah, in this this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah only loves what is pure. So our income has to be pure. And when we have pure income, again, that's where the blessings will start coming into our family. And these blessings, we might have $100 to go spend, and another person might have $1,000 to go outside and spend on their family. Probably that person who had $1,000 didn't gain the blessing. So when they go out, they won't have enough, even though it's more. It won't be suffice enough. It won't suffice their needs. But a person might have $100 and go out with their family to do some grocery shopping, wherever it may be. And somehow that $100 will make their cart full. and their refrigerator full. This is blessings that we can't see with our eyes and we can't understand. It's beyond our understanding. It's just, ways we need to work on ourselves and seek this blessing.
Yeah, I like all of your examples, and I agree with everything you said. If we even take like an example specifically on kind of a worldly aspect versus a spiritual aspect, let's say you decided to start smoking because other people thought it was cool. You think about one cigarette pack. I don't know how long it takes because I don't smoke, but it's usually what, $5 to $10. Let's say you spend, that $5 to $10, you buy a pack every couple of days. That's about, $50 a week. $50 times, how many weeks there are, how many months. You can usually spend, thousands of dollars just because of your smoking habit. And what is it doing for you? It's giving you cancer. It's giving you shortness of breath. You're potentially giving other people secondhand, smoke and causing them to feel bad or causing them to have any kind of illnesses that they might not want. And then spiritually, you're losing that sense of, what is my higher purpose here in this world? Why am I doing this to my body? My body is, something holy. It's something to keep healthy. And when I'm healthy, I can help other people. I can help my family. I can work. I can go to school. And just because other people might be doing something, that doesn't mean it's the right thing necessarily. So, going beyond just what is right now, what is temporary, is not important. Focus on the long term, focus on, the afterlife, focus on your ultimate goals, on your impression you want to create on this world, because that's how people will remember you. And if they're going to remember you in a negative way, then what's the point of that overall? So I'm happy we got to talk about it, and I hope people will focus more on their spending, make an emergency savings account for you and your family, start focusing on how you'll pay for your children's education. Think about, right now you might have an old car, but is it working properly? Then keep it. It's fine as long as it's safe. Keep that money for something else, maybe a vacation in the future, maybe giving to charity, maybe starting a fundraiser for someone who's sick or something. So let's go ahead and move on from there. You kind of talked about honesty in trade, and I really appreciate that, because nowadays, it's so hard to really go online and buy something from a company without wondering if you're going to be swindled, with if you're actually getting the product that you really want. Is the fabric going to be at the price that you're paying? Are you going to get medications that are true to what they're supposed to be to help you? There's so many examples. But it's important to, if you're not going to be doing something honest, why should you expect other people to be honest with you? So starting from yourself and then moving outward is really important.
Yes, what goes around comes around. If you're not going to be honest with others, then one day you'll be in that person's shoes, and they will cheat you and deceive you with your money. This hadith is such a beautiful hadith. We really need to make sure the way we deal with people, especially those who are in business, how we trade, how we give our services to people, to be clear cut in any defects, and be right about what you want to, right with your words, and don't be deceiving in the words. I want to share a very beautiful story of a priest here in the United States of America. His name is Yosef Estes. So I was doing research on 10 different people, how they came to Islam. It was a dawah class I was taking. And in those 10 people, I researched Yosef Estes. So Yosef Estes was a hardcore preacher. He promoted Christianity. He was always learning and studying and preaching. So one day he became partnered with a Muslim at a grocery store they owned together. So he has these defect cans that are expiring soon. So he say, let's put in the front and try a way to sell them at the regular price. But the Muslim brother, he says, no, that's against my faith. I can't do that. I have to lower the price, and I have to let the customer know that this will be expiring in a week. So Alhamdulillah, Yosef Estes that really hit him hard. And he went back home. He said, I am the Christian who's teaching love and this and that. And look at this Muslim who I thought was barbaric and, they're out to destroy the world. But he's telling me how to trade with people, how to sell our products. So he went and started studying the Quran. He was before, but not as in depth. But now he started taking more time to study the Deen and stuff. So Alhamdulillah, if you research him, Yusuf Asad, you see that he's been in India, he's been around the world preaching Islam, teaching Islam. He became a Muslim. His children became Muslim, his wife. So this is the blessings that comes with being honest in your trade. And history has it too. Muslims in Indonesia and Malaysia, no Muslims went there to preach Islam. But when Muslims did come trade with them, they saw their honesty, and that what motivated them to study Islam and convert to Islam. Islam wasn't spread by the sword. It was spread by good character. It was spread by people who were honest. And there, the blessing it was that Allah gave to the Ummah when we were honest with ourselves and honest with the people we deal with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I never had heard about Yusuf Estes before, but after learning about him from you, because you're so knowledgeable, it just one person's example of doing something good, of changing who they are, impacts so many people. If we think about the legal system now, without people who had fought for the rights of workers, for the rights to make sure that healthy food was sent out, and that when it's expired, you would take it away and you would get rid of it somehow. Hopefully, maybe composting or something if we're thinking more sustainably. Don't expect someone to do something good for you, like we were saying, if you're not going to do something good for them. If you're losing a profit overall, in the future, you'll get something even greater. And that's the most important to think about, is what you're doing for other people and not your loss, because your loss sometimes can be someone else's gain. They'll be healthy, they'll be safe, they'll be happy, and they'll come back to you. They'll be loyal to you as a customer, as a friend, etc. And then in the future, if you're in a hard time, or if you have an amazing product that you want to sell, they'll be there. They'll be willing to buy it from you because they trust you. They see you as an honest person, someone responsible, and that'll be an even greater blessing, having that connection with that other person in that way.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and talking about forgiveness. Sometimes it's hard to forgive yourself when you make a mistake, whether it's something simple like forgetting to wake up to take an exam, to something much greater, for example, giving someone the wrong medication. So how can we seek forgiveness in the proper way, and then how can we in the future make sure we don't make those similar mistakes?
So it goes back to the mindset, the type of mindset we have. Everyone on earth has faced some type of trauma. Some are more severe, some are not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He does not burden a soul beyond what he can bear. So any hardship I have faced, or you, it is because we have the potential to bear it and grow from it. And that's our choice if we want to grow from it. We shouldn't be too harsh on ourselves and be unforgiving to ourselves. We've probably made mistakes in our lives, and we are in a regretful state or guilt state. Why did we do that? So be kind to yourself. That's the first thing is, be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself. At the same time, seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and seek forgiveness from other people if you have hurt them, you have done wrong to them. Because right there it says that He sends rain to you in abundance and give you increase in wealth and children. So that comes when we seek forgiveness and we're willing to forgive.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're going to go on to the second major point you wanted to talk about, which is family. Nowadays it's so hard to spend time with family, to get close to them, to see what their problems are, to just be there for them. And I know it's very important, to have that structure, to have that kinship with someone, because that's what allows you to really, learn from them, to be there for them, to, grow your emotions, grow your intelligence just by spending time with a family member.
Yes. The Muslims living in the West, we kind of, this part of our lives, we try our best, but it has been affected by where we live, the society. Muslims living in Muslim countries, they still have that family structure and the support. It's because of the individual society and the collective society. Western countries are more individual, so it's on individual meaning my success, my goal, so it's my ambition in the world. As a collective society, it's more of a collective work. We help each other in our family, we help our cousins, we help our uncles, we help our children, we help our parents. So we're all helping each other, and that happens when we sacrifice our own needs too. I myself, I like to take both and balance it out. I like both the Western idea and the Eastern ideas because there's good in both. We need to grow as ourselves, develop, because this is how we will benefit the world, we will benefit humanity when we get our education, become doctors and engineers and scientists and teachers. If we don't do that, then we won't be successful. Our country will not go forward. At the same time, we still should not stop being grateful to our parents, being kind and respectful. And this is one thing, I know it's very, very hard for the young people here in the West Country, but we need to put ourselves in their shoes, in our parents' shoes. They came from a different country to a different culture, leaving their family, their country behind. They probably also experienced the war, the tragedy, bloodshed, everything going around them. They came to start a new living, a new life. But at what cost? At cost of losing their values. Yes, there are people who respect their parents and stuff, but it's the individual the idea that we have to just think about ourselves, our taking care of ourselves. So that's an extreme. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has instructed us to do everything in a balance. If we're too extreme in one way, where we're just thinking about ourselves, or the other extreme, just focusing on our family and neglecting ourselves, then we won't be successful. It's a middle path we have to follow in order to gain that success.
Exactly, yeah. And I know we kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, in regards to like the expectations with, each person within a family, especially in regards to, the female versus male kind of expectations and roles, especially in society, how we financially figure out what is most important, we should figure out together. I know a lot of people in more Eastern countries that when they're getting married, for example, all of their money goes to that marriage because they want to show off to everyone in society. But then afterwards, they have all this debt because, they can't afford to buy a house or to pay for college or to get a good job. And then, also talking to each other, one side of the family might, want to go shopping a lot more, and the other side might say, be more responsible, save and be there. But because of this kind of, distance from family members, whether, it's husband or wife or mother and, children or anyone really, what are some suggestions that you have, or what are ways that, family members can kind of refocus on and the importance of their daily life, but as well as their finances, to make sure that they're more secure and that they really understand why they're using or spending the money that they are. Is it for themselves? Is it for their family? Is it for society? And why do we follow these expectations from other people when in reality we should just be following what is the most beneficial for us?
Well, it goes back to the first, the South, the intention. It's our culture too. We have to understand what is Islam and what is our culture, our Afghan culture. Our Afghan culture tells us to make big weddings, spend lavishly. You must invite everyone on the block, whether you can afford it or not, go take a loan. It's okay, you'll pay it off later, and that is if you live. And then when we die, we have to face Allah with a huge debt. So, that's why, we are just thinking about having that, dream wedding, which is, if you have the money, go ahead. But if you do not have the money, or you have the money just for the wedding and not for a beautiful home to buy where you could raise your children and family, then why we're not thinking intellectually? This is something, my sister, she just shared a post with me that said, how smart are people that they spend their life savings on a wedding for 2, 3 photos on Instagram. So that's how it is. If you look at it, it's just for a few photos. It's a few hours. The wedding is just a few hours. It'll pass. People will leave. Some people will say the food was bad. Some people will say the decoration was bad. Some people will say, well, the bride's hairstyle wasn't all that. So, why are we going to not think smart? The smart way to do it is, have a nice warm wedding, according to your means. And then, take the rest of the money, put it to your home, to your future children education, something, pay off your school debt. A lot of us are financially in debt with our school loans. So this is mostly for the Western Afghans, but those who are back home, they've been in debt for years because they had to make a wedding that they had to invite. In one wedding, it was 1,000 people that they had to pay for and host, and for years, all the brothers and the father, they were in debt, just working to pay off that loan. Why? Because for people. See, that goes back to intentions. Any good we do, we have to ask ourselves, who are we doing it for? Is it for people? Is it for fame? We always have to ask ourselves, am I getting that degree to please Allah? Am I getting that degree just to make income? Where would the blessing be when you do for Allah, right? You get the blessing and you'll get the income too. So you get two things at that. So when we do these weddings or spending on lavish things, we need to ask ourselves, why are we doing it? Is it to show off? It's going back, checking our intentions, catching ourselves, catching our thoughts, catching who we hang out with and what influence us. Even who we follow on Instagram or Snapchat, are they influencing our thoughts? Are they influencing our behavior? So we really need to really think about that. Is it worth it? That's the big question. Is it worth it? I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. The intentions behind everything and the overall gain is what people should focus on, being a good person, and not focusing on what societal expectations are, because, society is not the one who's going to save you at the end of your life. You are the one with your choices and your actions. So that kind of moves on to, how you are with your family, with your kin. A lot of people nowadays, they're separated, whether it be because they had to move to a different country because of war, because of a job, or even siblings. Sometimes they don't talk to each other, and when you ask them why, they're like, oh, because for no reason, we just didn't talk. But keeping those connections alive is very important. And even if you financially can't help a family member, you can help them in so many other ways, emotionally, psychologically, religiously. There are so many good things when you keep a connection and you keep it strong, and you make sure to help someone when they're down in some way.
Yeah, having a good connection with your family beyond the people you live with, your nuclear family, our relatives, it's very crucial to gain that blessings, because it's through that Allah will take our hardship away from us. Allah will take any destruction in our life and change it and make it something good for us. He will provide for us. He will maintain great things for us. So that happens when we keep connected. And it's so easy today. Sometimes I came to America in the early 80s. If we had to make a phone call, it would cost us $100 just for a few minutes. The way we would communicate back home, the way my parents did, they will take a cassette player, which I don't know if some of the youth know today, they will record what they wanted to say on the cassette player, put it in a fabric, tie it. So whoever is traveling to Afghanistan, they will give them the cassette player, or they will, if they knew how to write, they will write a letter. And that's how they would communicate. But now, it's done for free just through WhatsApp, texting, just texting them once a week. Like I have made a family WhatsApp group where we connect with each other if we have to do a fundraiser, if we have a gathering. And I make sure we are all included, whether that person have some grudge against the other one. I said, that's you. We need to be connected because this is where the blessing lies. A family has to stay together. And no matter what, we could make time. There's always time. And like you said, the least we could do is listen to them. Sometimes they just need to talk. That is therapy in itself. When we talk to someone, even if we vent and we just listen with an open heart, that makes that person feel so well. And it makes our family happy. It makes the bonds stronger. So we really, really need to connect. If there's someone in your life today that you're not connecting with, call them today, text them a message, say, hey, how are you? What's up? Salaam alaikum. You won't lose anything because you become better in Allah's sight. You're the better person because you went, even though you might be not at fault, you might have had an argument with a relative, but you say, it's okay. I'm the bigger person. I'm going to go seek forgiveness and watch Allah's blessings coming your way.
Yep. So now we're going to go kind of on to the third part, giving back to your community, giving charity. And even in times of distress like now with, giant, natural, catastrophes, hurricanes, earthquakes, fires happening everywhere, COVID going around, sometimes we feel like we're just one person, we're insignificant, how can we help the world? But, just giving back to one person, giving food to one person, giving clothes to a person, giving, a job opportunity to someone are all ways you can give back, because that one person will then go and do something for another person. And that one person will go, and it'll be like the butterfly effect, So the actions of yourself, while you may think it's small, it'll result in something, beautiful and amazing. And giving back is something that everyone should do in any way. Gomakai, she's writing these books to help children. She's creating pages. She's sharing her knowledge. So I hope a lot of people who are watching today will take the same initiative to give back in any way you can. It doesn't have to be money. A lot of people think money is the solution to everything, but in reality, it's not. And I know you give a lot of great examples on why just being there for someone else is one of the greatest ways to bless them and get blessings for yourself as well.
Yes, you said it so beautifully. It's something, charity has different forms. We always think that, I have to financially give money in charity, but you might have a skill. You might know how to speak and read English, and there's people who love to learn it. You might know how to speak or read Arabic, or whatever language it may be. Or you might be great at sewing or another skill. That is something that you could share. If you need if financially you're not doing well, you say, well, I can't do it because I'm financially struggling. So it's no harm if you take some income for that, for sharing your skills. But yeah, there's other people who have the skills and who have the money, and they could still give it for free to those who can't afford it. Because when we give to others, Allah will give back to us. We won't lose it, whether it's our time. For me, myself, time is the most precious thing to me, because once time is gone, you don't have that time. Giving your time, giving your effort, your skills, are words of wisdom. These are all charity that you could give, your knowledge. And yes, of course, financially helping people, that's another way. Of course, the main way that we all know about. Even if a wife, she gets up and she gives in charity, she will not only get the reward, but the husband will get the reward. The one who she bought the food from will get the reward. So this is a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ had mentioned, that the reward goes down through everyone who was part of that giving. So you're not going to lose here. You're going to gain more.
Yeah, that was perfectly said. So we'll go on to like the second part of community. Something that I don't really, think too much about every day, but it's something that affects, everyone. Is how you can either lift someone up or how you can bring them down. And you give really great examples on why it's better to lift someone up instead of bringing them down, no matter what situation you're kind of in.
Most of us have been raised by our parents, and we see it in our community, the Afghan community. We see it everywhere, where a child does something and we constantly bring the wrong up. Or another human might do something, we always focus on the weakness. Oh, well, they probably made you a nice dish, and the salt was little. But how about the other things? So we're always focusing on the negative, the weakness of others. And we're so happy to go right away to another person and talk about them. Is this what really life is all about? Just collecting news from other people and then sitting at our dinner table and laughing and joking about it? Because what happens today to others will one day happen to you, and people will be sitting at their dinner table and laughing about you and talking about you. Whether we slander another innocent person, whether we backbite them, it's not our right to do that. Our right is to protect that innocent person. Whether they're innocent or not, it is our right to defend them in their absence. The thing is, this is a waste of time. We don't have that. Like I said, time is precious. We don't have that time to waste on focusing on other people. Let's focus on our own weakness. Where are we weak at? Do I need to get better with my speech? Do I need to get better with my recitation? Is my salah in order? Am I really good with dealing with my husband or my wife or my children? How am I dealing with my neighbors? Especially us living in the West, are we dealing well with our non-Muslim neighbors, our co-workers, our classmates? So how are we dealing with each other? Even back home, I hear so many stories how, kinship has been cut and backbiting is happening with the latest technology. People are just wasting time. But we have to really understand that, we have an end in mind, and that's our akhirah. That's when we go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we have to face Him and we have to answer the question He's going to ask us. Why did we gossip about people? Why did we focus so much on other people? Do we really have an answer? Do you really have an answer for that? And if we don't, then we need to really remain silent.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Just thinking like the financial aspect of it, let's say, you have a business that you barely started and your friend starts a business that is in the similar category, and you decide to go around, around the internet and to all your friends and tell a lot of stories and say that their product is bad or that they have a bad character. And in the long run, when you think of a lot of successful businesses around the world, the people who surround that person are the ones who really give the honest opinions about them. And people will trust those honest opinions because they know that person has integrity, because they know that person is responsible. So while you're going ahead and gossiping about someone, a lot of people will see that in your character, and then they'll think back to themselves, do I really want to be in a business with someone who goes around and slanders other people? Instead of bringing themselves up or helping their friend who's also starting a business to be successful as well. And then when we focus on for students, there's so much competition nowadays. I want to be the top student, I want to get into this program, I want to be the one who has the first certificate of this in my family. But why are you getting that certificate? Why are you getting that position within your university? Why are you, trying to get that position as a surgeon or as a CEO of whatever? What are you doing at the end of that? Now you're a surgeon. Do you love helping people? Do you love being a surgeon? Do you want to save people's lives? If the answer was no, I just wanted to impress people and I wanted to be better than my sibling who was, a veterinarian, you know, you spent all these years to obtain this goal and there's nothing meaningful in it. And if you don't have meaning in something and you're just, trying to get back at other people, you're not going to go anywhere in life because no one else is going to want to be around you, basically. So I'm really happy we talked about that because, especially with social media, trying to have this like presentation of ourselves and try to look better than other people, it's so hard to really focus on how to be a good person, for yourself as well as for in the eye of society. So I hope people, take a step back on your social media. Why am I posting this? Why am I, trying to get more likes than this person? Why am I trying to get this position versus someone else? Why am I trying to, be someone, but at the same time bring someone else down? I'm bringing someone else down, I'm just going to bring myself down. So bring people up, help those who are struggling, is that in the end, you're just going to help yourself as well.
Yes. Jealousy and hatred will just eat you up, and you might have a prosperous business going on. You might be well into your education. Because of your jealous and hatred, you're so focused on that person, you lose your own goal in life. That your grades start going down. Your boss sees you not doing well at work. So then, because you're so focused on destroying that other person. So it's better to take these ideas out of your head and instead of focusing on that person, say, hey, let me just, like you said, let's focus on our own selves. It's just wasting our life. We have one life to live, so let's do good with it.
Yeah, exactly. And now we can kind of look at the other side of things, that kind of subconscious feeling towards someone in a negative way before even really understanding what's going on with them. I'll let you talk more about the picture, but there's one area where we try to represent ourselves to someone, and then there's that other area where we create this kind of bias towards another person without truly understanding them. And I really love this example that you gave here on, not really understanding what someone might be going through, and then just assuming something, and then, creating this tense relationship or creating this distant relationship because you don't understand each other.
Yes, this picture I've seen a while back, and I always thought about it. Sometimes, this could happen between a spouse and husband and wife. It could happen between any type of partners or family, where or friends. We don't take the time to understand their pain, what they're going in life, and sometimes that person will hide it from us because they don't want us to worry. If you could see in the picture, there's a man laying down with a huge boulder on his back. And then there's a woman who's hanging down. He's trying to help. But she's so scared because there's a snake who is about to bite her. So the man doesn't see the snake and the woman doesn't see the boulder, meaning that we don't really see the difficulties of other people until we have empathy for them, until we put ourselves in their shoes. One is sympathy, feeling sorry for someone. One is empathy. Like, you really sit down and think about, oh, well, that person, their parents came from another country. They're living in another country. They're trying to get an education. A lot of our young people, they're applying for colleges and financial aid and scholarships. They don't have that support from their parents like other people would have, right? We don't have that. We have to do all the research. We have to find the ways how to go through college, how to get a career, what type of job, which, in this time, a lot of our time is wasted because we don't know. We don't have that support from our parents, which I know if our parents knew, they would have helped us, but it's not in them. They don't have that knowledge because where they came from was done differently. So we have to understand that, we go through a lot as our young people, they go through a lot trying to be successful in life. And as parents, as elders, it says that it takes a village to raise a child. So we really need to work as a community. For those who are in the West, we don't have that many people in our community, but we need to unite and work together and support each other. Start departments in our meshes where there's youth help, youth counseling, to help them on their career path. You know, there's a lot of things we could do in the masjids and Islamic centers where we invite people to talk to the parents and the youth on how to gain access to universities and how to take their journey in their new life ahead of them that's coming. So it's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we all could share our skills. That goes back to that charity, you know, we could give. I have a skill of working with children and young children, between 3 to 8 years, right? Another person might have the skills to work with older kids and college students. So we really need to give our skills and help each other. The same, it happens in Afghanistan too, where we have entrepreneurs. I was very saddened because I was speaking to some young children and who are still living in Afghanistan, and they're still not living a good life. And on top of that, they have elders who been through trauma and they never had coping skills. They never learned coping skills to deal with that trauma they've been through. And that comes with a harsh character where we're very harsh. And we become so harsh toward the young generation who are the future of our country. They get hit, they get abused, physically abused, verbally abused. Are we really building our country if we're neglecting the emotional state of our young people? So those who are back home, we really, really need to really rethink the way we educate, we teach our children. Even in Islamic classes, like if we're getting our children to learn the Quran, will there be any love for Allah? Will there be any love for the Quran? No, there won't be, because there will be that hatred. And many of these young children have expressed their feelings towards me, those who live back home. We have to have more compassion with our young ones, understand what they're going through. And of course, at the same time, the young ones have to respect the elders. So it's a both two-way street, just like our beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that the elders should show mercy to the young people, to the young generation, and the elders, the young generation should respect their elders. If we put into practice, our country will, you know, it'll go out of this dark age we are in, and will become a great country back again, like how it used to be. We'll be advanced in technology and science. But we really, really have to work with our children. That's very crucial.
Yeah, recently I took like a global perspectives class in business where I learned the difference about, analytical intelligence versus emotional intelligence, and everything you're talking about right now, having compassion, having empathy, taking the time to understand someone, whether it's their culture, their religion, their background, their knowledge, is all something that will make you successful. It's a type of intelligence that doesn't come just from reading a book. It comes from, personal everyday interactions. And, I'm so thankful that, the young children have a mentor like you, because, children everywhere in the world nowadays are facing so many things, whether it's, mental illness, whether it's, figuring out their education, figuring out how to bond with their family members who might come from, different generations of thought processes, different cultures, different backgrounds. And through, their family members are their first point of gaining their emotional intelligence. So hopefully, parents will take the time to understand the struggles that the youth are having, and hopefully the youth will take the time to understand where their parents are coming from, where their elders are coming from, because they've had such a hard life. They've had to struggle much more than we've had. We have technology now, we have advanced, medical abilities. It's so easy to find jobs compared to back then. So as you say, that two-way street, trying to come together, walk towards the middle step by step is very important. And that will just enhance everything from then on for the future as well. Mm-hmm. So we'll go ahead and move on to an example that you wanted to talk about, someone who I didn't know about, but someone that I'm happy everyone will learn about with me today, because I hope we can learn more about, great people who we can use as our mentors or as our role models. So if you wanted to talk more about, the father of invention from Afghanistan.
So I had to do a talk at a church and another non-Islamic center where I had to talk about Afghanistan. So I titled it The Reintroduction of Afghanistan and Islam, where I presented Islam in Afghanistan in a different perspective than the way it's been presented today, war and terror and all that stuff. So I really wanted to show Afghanistan the great people we have that have contributed to society, to civilization. So I came up with quite many people that have contributed significantly. There's a person who lives, a woman who lives in Germany who has created some kind of a cure for a certain type of cancer. We have a female pilot. We have an Afghan astronaut. So there are many on the list, but one that really excited me and made me so excited and happy is the father of invention called Ghulam Siddiq Wardbach. As I was doing my research and trying to find all these beautiful and amazing people of Afghanistan, I came upon him. And sadly, this is not talked about, even in our Afghan media. It's always politics, it's fashion, or it's music. When I was doing my research, this is what I would find. And it's so sad that we have so many amazing people that we're not bringing to light. So the father of invention, if you go to his story, you could do research. He was interviewed by BBC radio, and I listened to his talk and read the articles. And he has no formal education. He was raised in a war-torn country during the war, and he was taking things that were laying about. He would take it, put it apart, make something, invent something out of it. Some things were like alarm radios or security cameras and different gizmos and gadgets that people were amazed at. How does he know? So people from his city, I forgot what city he lives in, that they will go to him and say, hey, can you come over and fix this for us and this for us? And he will be fixing that with no formal education. It's just, it's the power of the mind that Allah has blessed him with. So I was so amazed about his life. So I thought about it, that if our country was not war-torn, imagine what would he have become if he had the proper support, the proper mentorship. As a child, if he had the right education, imagine he probably would be, winning a Nobel Prize right now. I even nominated him for a TED talk. I see TED. They do that. They give that platform to people who you have no formal education, and they give them that platform who are making a difference. There was this one African young man who made the windmill. There's a documentary about him on Netflix, and they brought him to TED Talk. So I was thinking about him. I said, he really needs to be out there. People need to know about him. So I really, really am excited about him because he has that potential. It's just that what happened is when in his childhood, he didn't have that support, the mentorship, the country was in turmoil. But that's going back to what I promote, is helping our youth, helping our children. If we want success, we need to work on our kids. And in order to work on our kids, we also need to work on ourselves. Because if we have trauma, if we have anger issue, we have a sick soul, that is going to resonate with our children, and they will grow up to be the same people. We don't want that. We want them to become great leaders, great scientists, great mathematicians, or whatever it may be, just a great individual, a simple person even. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's why I was so fascinated by Ghulam Siddiq Wardbach. His life story is amazing to me.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful story. I'm happy that I got to learn about someone who, came from a very difficult background and rose above it all and decided to, to learn and grow and to help others around in some way. You know, it might be, you know, difficult in some ways, but at the same time, there is something in every person that shines within them, you know, whether it is important to, you know, figure out a cure for cancer, whether you can help someone change their tire, whether you can, you know, cook a delicious meal and you know, fill someone's soul up who might have had a really hard day at the end of the day, you know. So there's so many ways someone can help someone else, and don't think because of your circumstances or your socioeconomic, you know, place, or the fact that you're in a foreign country, or that you're from a different you know, background, culture, religion, etc. It's not important. The most important thing is that you can give back in some way, and you know, giving back is the biggest way that you can actually grow and enhance your skills. Because once you have a goal and you fixate on that, you'll learn somehow. You'll talk to other people. You'll read books. You'll look at websites. You'll try to do things that, you know, are different. And I think it was Einstein who said, you know, 1,000 mistakes is just one more way of me figuring out what is the correct way. I mean, that's not the exact quote, but it's something similar to that. So I appreciate you telling us about him, and I really hope he gets that, the TED Talk award. Is that what you said? Is it an award or just like a show about him?
It could be, they could bring him, usually it's in Canada, I believe, they will bring him, and they'll bring him and talk about his life. And I think it's something that we should maybe even us Afghans should support him in that way, to bring him to the forefront of the news, say, hey, there's Afghans who are doing amazing work. You know, we're not how the media say all the time. There are so many Afghans that I have met are doing great, great work for humanity, for the world, regardless of where they come from. You know, they don't have that bias, oh, well, they're not Muslim or they're not Afghan. They're doing so many great things. And I see the pure intentions in them. They want to help humanity. They want to do for Allah's sake. So I see that, and then I want them to be showcased, for those who don't know about our great people.
Yeah, that's really great. I really, at the end of the show, I kind of wanted to talk more about, you know, your books and the process of what it takes to become an author. You know, I myself have wanted to, you know, start writing books on various topics, you know, about, you know, adventure books, or books about science, for example, were some things that, because I had such a hard time struggling to learn science topics. So, you know, how did you start the book, like writing the book process? What resources did you have, financial resources? And then, you know, afterwards, how will you help other people through your books, and just grow as an author yourself?
So I never thought in a million years I would be an author, but there was something inside me that motivated me to become an author. I do teach, and when I read stories to children, I see how it affects them, it connects with them. So I really thought, like, you know, the things will go that are happening around the world, the bad things, and I'm like, how can I change? What can I do to make this world a better place? And I saw that the talent I had was with the young kids. You know, I could connect with them in a way that I would probably not connect with other people. So I had the skills, and I realized it, and I had this talent with connecting with young children. So I said, why not write books that promote goodness to children? And on top, not just write the books, but also help parents and caregivers, because they need instructions too on how to promote that good behavior, that good character, that good mindset with their children or their students. So that's why I start writing books. My first book was The Goodness Soup, and that's just about a Muslim family living next to a non-Muslim elder family, and how the neighborhood love is, and how respecting the parents, and how the siblings work together. So it's a great story about compassion and understanding and love among the family, among the neighbors, and respect and mercy, things I've talked about. My second book was The Princess Diversity and the Golden Rule. My first book experience writing that one, I went through a traditional way where I gave it to a publisher and they printed it for me. This second, third, and fourth book, it's a very new way that a lot of people are taking advantage of. It's a low cost, probably not even much if you yourself have the skills of doing digital art, if you're doing a children's book. There's a lot of resource on YouTube. There's a lot of people who could teach you how to put your book on Kindle and put it up on Amazon and sell your book. Yeah, it takes a lot of work because I have to market it. I have to promote it. As you see in my social media platforms, I'm always trying to promote the book. Not the book to gain any money, but to gain blessings. And I also give good advice, goodness to them, to the children. So the second book I wrote was Princess Diversity and the Golden Rule. So this was something that happened to me in my life where I was bullied in school by the kids around me because of course, I was practicing Muslim with the hijab on. And in middle school, I was bullied because of that, because I tried to be a practicing Muslim. But alhamdulillah, times change and things got better. But still, it really impacted me. Being young, your self-esteem goes low, and you don't know who to turn to. I couldn't talk to my parents because I was an introvert. There were so many things I didn't understand about myself. The teachers would see it and they wouldn't do anything about it. So I did want to grow up, and later on in life, I said, I don't want other children to feel the same way, wherever they may be coming from. So the book is not Islamic book, but it has the values of Islam. Because I want to also non-Muslim children read it and take the goodness from it and become resilient. So it teaches them to become resilient. Even if someone is hurting you, you could become a strong person and become a resilient person. So my third book, Touched by a Butterfly, it goes with my name, Gulmeki. Gul means flower and Maki means butterfly. So it kind of, again, goes back with my life. There was something I needed as a child, was mentors to guide me in my life journey, which I didn't have. It's not always the parents' job because it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, I had my teachers and I had my parents. But the mentorship is a whole different thing that young people really need. Like I mentioned before, going to college, there's kids who need our help. You don't have to be related to them or anything. If you have that skills, why don't you take the time to do a class with them and teach them what to take, what to do? So that book was written just to talk about a friendship between a flower and a caterpillar and how they help each other grow and develop and mature. My new book, which is about to launch on November 10th, I'll have a live broadcast on Instagram. My Instagram is at Gulmeki Saleh and my Facebook on the 11th. Where I'll be promoting this book, The Broken Smile. The Broken Smile was written by me, dedicated to the children who are born with a cleft lip and palate, or those who are born into a broken world. So it's dedicated to them to make awareness of cleft issues. A lot of people don't know about cleft palate, cleft lips, and even in our country, there's people who have cleft lip, and they never had a surgery to repair their lip, which is very sad because it's just putting ourselves in their shoes is very traumatic. Just going out there in public with your lip cut, and people don't understand that. It's very frustrating, and then they lose their confidence, and when people lose their confidence, they can't shine. And we want people to shine. When they shine, they're able to give back to civilization. So that's what my new book is about. I'm so excited to launch it next month.
Yeah, and so inshallah, it'll be very successful. I hope everyone watching today will either, hopefully buy your books or share it on, on their social media accounts, share your Facebook accounts, your pages, so that other people can know about it. If anyone is out there who is looking to, donate books to charities or are looking to, have someone to read, very helpful, beneficial stories, Gulmakai is available to get into contact with you. She really wants to help people, especially children who are in tough times. So I just want to, give a shout out to any, nonprofits, any people who are looking for someone to help with, children, educate them, etc. Reach out to Gulmakai. She will give you a lot of advice. She'll be there to read to children. And then if you want to buy her books and donate them, I know she's trying to do a fundraiser right now, and hopefully I'll share that in the future when that does start, so everyone can be part of something positive, help the future generations, and learn something for themselves as well in some way. So I kind of just wanted at the end, what's kind of your final hope of message for people, especially now with COVID and other things? What is something you want to kind of end today's lesson?
I know you've mentioned COVID a few times. COVID, this is something that was written for us to face in this time of ours. There's people in the past who went through pandemics and they dealt with it and they got strong and they continued to live and took the best out of it. Yes, if we keep focusing on the negative side of COVID and how we're not going out to work, I know especially with the young people, they say we're stuck home. I hear from my own children, we're stuck home, we can't go out. But alhamdulillah, we have a house to stay in, alhamdulillah, we have a computer, we have internet, we have food, we have everything, There's so much always looking at the what's below us. It will go, it'll pass. I just hope no one gets sick and no one dies from it, which so many people have and are affected by it, which I pray for them. And even I've lost my own uncle to COVID. Many of my family members did get sick and recover. I have a cousin who's been brain dead for the past 6 months. It is hard. It is devastating. But other people has it worse than I do. There's families who lost, maybe 5, 6, 7 people, and I have to say, alhamdulillah. It'll come, it'll pass. Some will live, some won't make it. But we have to make the best out of it. Use this time to utilize it for doing something great. Write a book.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that everyone right now is doing well, everyone is staying safe and healthy. And for those who are having tough times, especially with their family members, we'll pray for you, we'll pray for your family as well. And at the end, everything will hopefully be good. Yeah, so just, thank you so much for taking your time today. I hope this was very beneficial for you and for everyone else. I hope everyone learned a lot about, more of the spiritual aspects of finance, as well as, for those who might want to become an author, what the process and the steps for modern day authors to start. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I hope everyone else enjoyed the show today. And Khudafis, and I hope everyone has a great morning or night wherever you are.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was truly a blessing to be talking with you and your audience.
Yeah. So thank you. Tashakar so much, Gulmakai. Khudafis, everyone. This is Asma Popal signing off from Universal Finance Academy. Khudafis.